Are you gonna give me orders?
Hopefully this is going to be an amazing series as well. Our second best of 5 of the day is going to be played right here, right now. First map will be Eternal Empire, as we somehow got back to us. But this game, Wardy, it's good to go. We're good to go. Let's get it on in the right top side. Look at the main base of our Mexican Terran player, who is, of course, in South Korea, as he always is. It is SpeCial.
Oh, yeah.
And in the bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player is TY.
Now, you know what's funny? Whenever these two go up against each other, of course, I think it's a well-known fact in the StarCraft community that SpeCial has been a very big fan of TY for the longest time, loves to copy his builds, has tried to play like him. And I always think back over that 2017 BlizzCon we had, you know, where it was like, oh, SpeCial goes up against TY, that's the person he looks up to, that's the person he wants to be when it comes to, you know, StarCraft 2. And SpeCial won. He won his group back then with TY, with stats. I was like, that was such a sick victory for SpeCial. I was like, they must have played a few more times, right? So then I took a look at all their other encounters, and they did, but those didn't go so well for SpeCial. Historically, TY is 9-1 against SpeCial, but hey, the one time that SpeCial won, it was on the biggest stage out there back then, the Global Finals at the end of the year.
And that was such a systematic series as well, right? I remember watching SpeCial play this, and it was just like, it was just really good play. Like, he had such a good plan. He executed it so well. It was just like the best of SpeCial that entire weekend, I felt like. What a run that was back then. As this game already getting interesting there, Roddy. TY is going to open up with 2 racks in the main base. He's going to play 2 racks Reaper from back at home, which is not one we always see, but it is common enough that it's not too surprising either. Unfortunately, here he is not up against a proxy Rex of SpeCial where you'd get a build order win. He is up against a 1-gas expand of SpeCial, which can be successful, not so much if SpeCial goes to the high ground, though, and that's really nice from SpeCial. Sees the fact there's a second depot, a wall off, and he doesn't know, and he's just going to play this really, really safely.
Yep. I've seen Clem go for the double Rex opening quite a few times as well over the last few days in this matchup. Seems like a lot of Terran players just kind of like it because obviously you do get a good scout. We can already look at the mini-map, and I always think it's cool to see how those Reapers are just moving all across the map, trying to find something that maybe shouldn't be there. And, you know, worst comes, you don't have to hop into the main base. Worst comes to worst, you're just left over with a couple of Reapers that you can put somewhere near a Zelnaka Watchtower, and you get some map control out of it. And because TY does feel good about his double barracks opening, it does also allow him to drop that command center on the low ground. So I think this will all play out quite fine for TY.
Yeah, actually, the CC on the high ground might even be a bit of overkill almost for SpeCial, right? It's maybe a lot better if he's up against double gas, but against the Reapers, you get the Reapers get quite a fast expansion anyway because you're still 1 gas for so long. So yeah, I do like this for TY. Plus the Reapers out, has good map control, sets up a bunker, still looks good.
Look at SpeCial building his starport next to the tech lab already, so as soon as that starport is done, it will be online immediately. Could start producing Ravens. We've obviously seen quite a few Cloak Banshees as well, but I feel like SpeCial in general, I mean, he looked good, by the way, in that TVT series against Cure that we had, of course, and there was that crazy game on this map where he was down 6 upgrades at one point, and sure, it was Mac, it wasn't Bio, but still, 6 upgrades, Water, you just don't see that very often. It is going to be Cloak Banshees, actually, for SpeCial. I kind of thought that maybe he just wants to go into quick Ravens. No, he's going to try to get something done with his Banshees.
Yeah, a fun opener because obviously we don't see Banshee play as much, especially Cloak Banshee play as much. We've been seeing like a couple Cloakless Banshee builds lately. The Cloak Banshees, you know, you have a Cyclone, you have a Raven, and those Cloak Banshees just get shut down a lot of the time. So it can be rather a big investment, and it takes away your chance to build Ravens, which are critical in TVT early, mid-game. They really change the entire way that certain engagements go. So it's always fun to see the Cloak Banshees be made, but it also doesn't always work out so well. So it's definitely an interesting change. As SpeCial is going to go into a second factory, so he's going to play mech, and I wonder if he's going to play some Hyperflight Rotors then as well.
And that Reaper was a bit too far ahead of the Hellion, so it didn't really stand a chance. SpeCial has to be careful. He's probably gonna, I want to say, end up losing this Hellion too. If a grenade would have connected and bounced that Hellion in the wrong direction, it would have been bad. Well, that would be very cool, actually. Hyperflight, I mean, some speed Banshees. You don't see this super often. TY already going up to 3 bases, by the way. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Let's build another command center. Why the hell not?
That's actually worth mentioning though, right? Because the 2 base of SpeCial, a lot of TVTs usually go 3cc pretty early. So the fact he's already built an extra production could really be a good sign of like one big push coming and then a later expansion from him. And that could put TY into a little bit of trouble, perhaps. He will go for an expansion now, the special that is, but it's still going to be that extra factory early, which does give him those extra units earlier. Maybe with that not with Hyperflight, sorry, the mag field, maybe that can make something happen, as he will just move off the Starport Tech Lab after just a couple Banshees, so no Hyperflight shenanigans.
Yeah, I feel like SpeCial is very good with this kind of in these kind of games, right? Like he showed us that he knows how to move the Cyclones around. He knows which fights he can commit to. But it's obviously going to be a bit different than mech against mech, because we can already see TY researching Stim. But there's still potential. If TY doesn't see a couple of Cyclones when he floats over that command center, like it's insane how quickly Cyclones with mech field accelerator can kill buildings. So TY really needs to keep a close eye on the movement of SpeCial's army once SpeCial decides to get adventurous. There is a couple of Ravens in the main base, so this Banshee shouldn't have gotten too much done. Look at the amount of damage SpeCial's getting here. 5 SCVs, maybe 6 if he... Oh, he missed fire. Twice.
Well, a little bit unfortunate as we got the other Banshee getting cleaned up, so that one doesn't do as much, still gets 2 more kills. I just want to quickly bring up the fact that that second factory as well, he purposefully built it on the low ground, on his natural, so he actually moved the barracks to the low ground to build the tech lab there, and that's really sick because this scan now from TY completely misses the fact that this factory on the low ground has been building for so long, and that might lure TY into a false sense of security, taking this third base. We'll see what SpeCial can do as he is coming forward. There's a lot of units here, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. It's still a nice little mind game, just to kind of keep TY kind of on edge.
Maybe he can get a Raven. That's a lot of lock on somehow. TY saves the Raven. There was a Widowmine there that blew up, I guess, the Reaper, right? That went sent in there to scout. Yeah, that could have been a bit worse for TY. Great save on the Raven. Well done.
Yeah, that Raven, it's even if a scan gets the kill on it, right? But SpeCial doesn't have it right there, and really nice to keep it alive because, again, that's going to be TY's big advantage here. He did build Ravens early game, and that's still something SpeCial has not done at all. So, no Ravens for SpeCial. Also see a single grenade bop and a Cyclone back, and of course these Cyclones will be great at keeping the map control. But TY is out up this right side. It makes this Widowmine very important. It doesn't get a shot off because now this Widowmine knows this army's coming across the map.
I get a little bit worried, right? Because I feel like SpeCial needs to buy time with these Cyclones. He needs to be annoying. This gets super awkward because now Cyclones, yeah, they're coming in from every angle. That's cool. But how do you really micro this when you're SpeCial? I feel like there's almost no way to control this perfectly. And that means that a lot of these bio units are going in super deep. Sure, the tank will fall, but these bio units could get into the middle line. And that's a lot of SCVs that are going to fall over here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, TY finds 13 workers already. He's actually just going to turn and fight some of these Cyclones too. I don't mind that, right? Taking away some of the army supply that SpeCial might look to counterattack with. 13 workers is already great eco damage done. Now this Raven just showing up and dropping a couple auto turrets down. We'll get a couple more SCVs. It denies mining. Fantastic stuff because the SCVs already had to pull from the main base as well. So that's 2 mineral lines, not mine for a good portion of time. Great play from TY, taking advantage of being able to sneak out onto the map, and he sees these Liberators.
Yep, spots the Lips as well. He's going to unload the units there. I gotta say, that could have been even worse for SpeCial, but obviously he did take quite a bit of damage. SpeCial does have a lot of units, but some of these Cyclones are very low in HP already, so he needs to be careful. One Cyclone goes down, second one gets picked off as well. There's still that one Cyclone that's on like 1 HP, and that one will fall too. Yeah, I feel like these are decent trades. Wow, another one. Well done.
Yeah, every single unit you kill when you're playing against mech is obviously fantastic because you really just don't want that mech army to ever get too large because that's when it can become overwhelming. That's when it gets to the point where it becomes very difficult to fight it. So keeping it on those lower numbers definitely makes TUI's future in this game a little bit easier.
Gotta say, I'm surprised that the Liberators were that quote-unquote successful. Like only 4 SCVs, but a lot of lost mining time, delaying the E-base as well there, or at least one of the E-base. Liberators come back. This time the missile turret does finish up. But once again, SpeCial finds himself with a few SCV kills. So definitely hanging in there, and obviously we know that Juanito's macro when it comes to building workers is on point in general. So I felt like there were 1 or 2 moments where I was like, he could be in trouble, but so far so good actually.
Yeah, it still comes out to be a fairly even spot, and it feels like the damage TY has done is almost just the damage he needs to do to kind of get into a good macro game for bio versus mech, right? So he's not behind on workers, but he's also not terribly ahead on workers. He can build a CC in location already, and that's the advantage.
There are no units at all protecting this base, by the way, on the south side. Those are Hellions that unfortunately don't have Blue Flame yet, but I mean, 4 Hellions. Oh my goodness, all the SCVs are lined up. They're getting some fantastic shots off. 6 SCVs go down, make it 11 at this point. And Special's like, can I get a few more? Yes, you can, apparently.
can.
14 in total. There was something happening in the natural too. Well done.
Fantastic stuff then. 14 workers going down, and suddenly TY is behind on that economy I was just talking about. So 4th base on the low ground position. That doesn't catch you up losing 14 workers, and this is amazing for Special. Playing that mech style, it's going to be really tough for TY to break that, especially on a map like Eternal Empire. So TY might just have to go home, turn tail, and run, and then do what, right? Sit back and maybe start building into air already or so. It's a tough call. You really have the unity and the economy to try and pressure and stop Special taking the 4th base.
No, I think you can delay it, right? Just stall it for a little while he gets his own economy back up and running. He stabilizes on 4 bases. I'm with you. Like, I don't think you can really try to break Special right now. That's just not an option.
Yeah, it's going to be very much so kind of a sit out here and sort of hold position. And maybe you can also stop more Hellions moving across the map and keep your own economy safe by taking this forward stance. But yeah, I mean, this is what he needs to do, right? Just keep the 4th base from coming down, have his own 4th base faster, that better economy. And also, he's taking this as a chance to expand to the left side of the map, so really capitalizing on the fact he's got so much of the map control at the moment.
Yep. Now, obviously, this is high ground is something that Special does have to worry about. I know he's got a lot of tanks, but it's still super annoying. If there is an army there, TY is actually going to just give up that position. I wouldn't have minded if he sieged 1 tank there, for instance, right? Like, being in range of that refinery, delaying that refinery from being up and running. Special goes for a little bit of an engagement. Look at those blue flame shots in the bio units. I feel like there's a lot of movement, by the way, on the right side. For a second, I thought TY thought of getting, a little fancy there. One of his medevacs is so low on HP, so I don't think you ever want to drop there.
No, it's a tough one to commit to. I like this from TY, though. Finds his way to the high ground, denies that gas, which is obviously big for the mech player. And it just stops the STVs minding here that a little bit longer. Again, anything you can do to slow the 4th base down. And that's exactly what TY is doing. Now he looks like as though he does maybe want to drop as he loads up on the right-hand side. He's getting some Viking kills over here too. So it looks like TY is going to go for it over on the right, going to drop into the natural. There's a lot of Hellions here and some unsieged tanks. He'll just go up into the main.
What? He just flies across everything. And I mean, Marauders are going to do all right, I guess, against the Hellions. A couple of auto turrets are going to make things annoying here for Special as well. And this is the kind of stuff you just don't really want to be dealing with, right? If your mech, one armory gets picked off, that upgrade got just started. The other one is almost done, though, so that would be a disastrous armory to lose. But he's not going to lose that one. Special getting a bit fortunate there, but at the same time, he's losing a lot of tanks. And once again, TY is going to be on the high ground here. Being on the high ground means you are in range of all these STVs. I really like what TY is doing. This is honestly a very good play.
Really waited patiently, and honestly, he has done so much more than I ever expected him to be able to on a map like Eternal Empire. He's really used the dropping weaknesses of this map very well. He's used that high ground position very well. And he's making Special look a little bit silly when it was a good spot for Special, especially after killing a bunch of workers. And now TY is in full control. And that's what you want as the bio player. You feel like you can run units anywhere. You can be in the next position before your opponent's ready for it. You've got 5 bases pumping out economy as well, so your eco's really good here. You can continue to replace units. Picking off random tanks, he's going to get another one. Ooh, Special just turns away in time.
Is that the medevac speed boost upgrade, by the way?
Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
Cool. I love this positioning. Once again, like, he's like, oh, you think you're going to take the rich gas? I feel like TY is with me, man. He knows how good rich gases are. At the same time, he's going to save his tanks near the Zelnaga Watchtower. He just refuses Special to really use this gas. I feel like there's been 3 refineries there and a grand total of like 12 SCV trips have been made, right? Liberators are finally going to allow Special to start using this base the way he wants to. But at the same time, we've got another drop once again across the middle. This time the tanks are not sieged, but Hellions should be able to get a couple of really good shots up on these Marines. But oh man, the DPS of these bio units is still so high.
And then a couple of Liberators are just here, and it takes a while for them to get cleaned up, so they get some good shots as well. It's another trade out for TY where he's slowing down that tank count. He's going to find these tanks just siege, and he'll get them before they fire. Only one managed to get a shot off. And that's 4 more siege tanks at the cost of what? A Marauder, a couple of Marines. I do really like the Liberators introduced here from Special, but now he's going to start losing these for getting, what, 1 shot, then he unsieges for nothing else. Vikings clean up on the right side, but Special just has nothing on the left. And TY will storm on through to take the first map of this best of 5.
It feels like it's hard to find weaknesses, and it feels that Special was prepared for all the obvious drop pass, And TY is just like, what if I just fly in between all the bases straight to the main? And it honestly felt that gave him so much momentum and just really allowed him to push a pace that you don't really want to be keeping up with as the mech player, because you just kind of want to sit there, right? You want to cover all your tracks, you want to be safe. SpeCial was at 88 SCVs. Now, obviously, maybe that's slightly overkill because I don't think he really had a place to put all of them. But technically, there was a lot of potential for SpeCial to eventually move out. But TY says like, nope. We're going to trade. And then eventually, like, mech is good, but if you spread the battle out that much, it just feels that every tank is going to be an easy pick-off at one point.
He just played beautifully, right? It definitely felt like he got into a little bit of a tough spot. I wasn't a big fan of it, especially, when you're down like 15 workers as the bio player. And I know he's got like CCs to rebuild with, etc. But it just feels like that's the stability you need as the mech player to get up to those bases safely. No, just TY just finds every single way to delay that, finds every single way to shut it down. I don't think the thing is as well, right? There was no point where it's like, oh, this is a bad drop, this is a bad move forward, right? He didn't lose like 2 medevacs of units to like a tank shot or something. Yep. And that's often what you see with Bio. Like, they get into some good spots, but some of these attacks get deflected, and that's where the mech player can hang on in there. Everything TY did led to damage, which led to further damage, and that really allowed him to just abuse this mech play. Take that game 1 very comfortably in the end.
Yeah, there were a couple good moments for SpeCial, right? It felt that 1 or 2 Banshees were pretty decent. That Hellion drive-by was nice, like, especially because all the units were out of position. There wasn't even like 1 Marauder, 1 Marine. So it felt like it was going somewhere. But at the same time, it just felt that the Cyclones, they didn't really shine in this game, right? Like, was there like one moment where we're like, wow, these Cyclones are really going to work, great lock-ons? Like, no, can't really recall a single moment where I felt the Cyclones really got the fight that you dream of if you have that many Cyclones with mech field accelerator.
It kind of felt like this is kind of the setup from the TVT, which kind of you can compare to TVP a bit, right? Where the Blink Stalkers keep the bio player back a bit, and that's what the Cyclones are meant to do. Yeah. And those Cyclones just never got a single lock on to like trade out as TY came across the map. And like you said, there was the Banshees and the Hellions. I think those like the 2 moments where it was like, oh, SpeCial's doing pretty good here. And that was it. That was over. And then, like you said, Cyclones did nothing. It's a tough one for SpeCial because I feel like you just look at this and you're like, damn, he played really well, and I have to do better than that.
Yep. I love that you compare that to the Stalkers, because I think that's perfect, actually. It's the same as with Stalkers. Like, there's a lot of micro potential in them, but you want to face that army head first. The last thing you ever want is that bio army to be in the middle of Cyclones on the top, Cyclones at the bottom, because you can't really micro that, right? We only have a single monitor. And the same can be said for Stalkers. Anyways, here we go. Let's see if things are going to be different in game 2. It seems like we're going to get a little aggressive over here, Waddy, in the right bottom side. We're looking at the main base of our Korean Terran player, TY. He's up 1-0. Oh my goodness, what?
And in the top left, our red Terran player is SpeCial.
Yay!
Notable SCVs are going on a little journey here. Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got 1 SCV patrolling here. That's going to be our first barracks. And of course, there's going to be a second barracks as well. TY did send out that second SCV2. We already have a gas going down in the main base of TY as well. Curious to see if SpeCial A scouts it, and B, if he's going to be capable of dealing with this aggression that's heading his way.
He is going to go double gas, I think, because he went gas first, which is generally a good sign that he's going to go into that factory. So I kind of expect him to build a second gas, but apparently not. Wow. If he goes 1 gas, obviously that's kind of rough for him, and he's not going to go the right way to scout, but he is also sending the SCV to try and find something, right? So it's even worse, because now when he gets across the map, it's so much later, and generally you want to delay the CC when you see there's no racks at home, but I'm not sure if this is going to time out well for him now.
I am afraid that it's not going to. That's such an unfortunate scout, right? Like, if he takes a more obvious direct path to his opponent, he actually just runs into those barracks. He has so much more time to deal with it. Waddy, he's dropping a command center on the low ground as well. Can you hold my hand, Waddy? Like, this is target.
Oh, okay, he messed up, right? Because this SCV was like a second away from getting up the ramp. He could have seen there's no racks before he places the CC. It's like a 10 mineral delay. So I feel like that one at the end there is on SpeCial. Now TY is like, oh, you've actually built the CC there? He's like, okay, well, yeah, we can go on then.
I like where this is going. Oh, you got to be so careful with it. Oh, he takes the first shot as well to make things even worse. And he's going to be able to save it. SpeCial immediately cancels it. But we're going to get a bunker on the high ground. And don't forget, because the Reaper took the first shot, you have to be so careful here. The second and the third Reaper are about to show up for TY. And this could actually be an incredibly short game, especially if Special ends up losing his Reaper. That's not the case yet, but look at how much damage these SCVs are taking already.
The Reaper, he just can't find the target fire, and it feels like he's been so close so many times. I love the bunker, because even if it doesn't come up, it's high ground vision. Yeah.
That is so key. I would actually love to see TY go for it at this point, because he also knows that SCV that's building the factory is super low. I would always go for that SCV first, because that means you're stalling the factory, and that's exactly what TY does as well. And how do you fight this? 3 Reapers, more Reapers are coming in. Special's trying to do whatever he can, but that that factory is still not online. This is so bad. 1 Reaper does finally fall, but how much longer can Special hang in there?
I feel like TY's missed the target fire on this Reaper of Special like 3 times at this point, because he'll finally get the kill. I mean, it definitely feels like that should have gone down a lot sooner given the scenario, but the micro's too good. And TY will indeed close it out to take a 2-0 lead in this best of 5. After a very fun game 1, it was just early game Reaper micro to take game 2.
You think Dario is shaking his boots a little bit right now about that prediction? You know, thinking there's not going to be a single trio. We're obviously not there yet, but these are the games that really sting. I love what you brought up about the SCV. It felt that SCV was right there. It saw there's no barracks, and bam, the commander still went down. So yeah, maybe he should have waited a second there, tried to get a bunker up immediately as well. I love the bunker from TY, like you said. Obviously, if that ever goes up, yeah, that would be fantastic, but that's not really the point. The point is that he has a lot of high ground vision, and it's really hard for Special to take that bunker out because you don't have that much DPS in that phase in the game. So that's going to be there, and that will just allow TY to make every correct decision.
I feel like this is so tough going into game 3 now, because especially in TVT, having like a 2-0 lead as TY, I think you've got to look at that and just be like, man, I've got so much freedom. I can try something funky. I can do like a 1-base opener. I can be a bit risky, taking like a faster expand, get ahead, being a bit greedy. There's just so much potential. And in TVT and matchup, which can so often become crazy, a bit ridiculous, you have these ridiculous tryouts where people are dropping each other all the time. It's so hard to consistently be good enough to win 3 games in a row. Feels so tough for Special right now. Hopefully, can fight back though, because we want to see a series out of this. And TLO does not want to be wrong, I'm sure as well.
No, especially against TY, right? I think it's safe to say that he's kind of on fire at this point. He's been playing very well over the last few months. Obviously doing great over in Korea as well. And yeah, to see him lose 3 TVTs in a row, I'm sure it has happened before, but that's not a very that's not an occurrence that we see like every week. It's like, oh, TY lost 3 TVTs again in a row. It's like, no, that's maybe once a year kind of thing, right? There are not that many people on this planet that would win 3 straight against him. Maybe Nightshade is going to be the start of a magical comeback, but I think then you have to also take into account that historically the score between these two is 9-1 in series. If you start adding up the numbers, it's hard to still be a believer here, no matter how big of a fan of Special you might be.
Well, let's see what he can do. Special gives us the go to go into Nightshade for our 3rd map of the series.
Would you like to see him cheese? Obviously both games were pretty passive from Special, right? In the first game, there was some aggression with the Banshees, but nothing crazy. In the second game, well, we couldn't even really see what he truly wanted to do other than the initial build order. Maybe he's the one who has to spice it up and try to be a little more aggro.
Good way to just reset the series a little bit, right? If you get a quick cheese off, you get an advantage, you play out even if you 2x Reaper, you just get a slight lead and you play from the advantage, right? That can be very good for you. But man, it's so scary to try and 2x Reaper TY. We just saw how well you can control those Reapers, and definitely makes it a bit of a terrifying prospect trying to deal damage to someone. You can micro like that. In the top left-hand side, we'll see what he wants to do. The Red Terran player is Special.
He's got a mountain to climb. In the right bottom side, our Korean Terran, he's up 2-0 and looking really good so far. It's TY.
Just can't giggle at the sound effect.
It seems like actually no, never mind. There was an SCV heading to a rather odd
He's gonna
spot.
go proxy 1 racks maybe.
So 1 barracks at home, 1 barracks out on the map.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's kind of
the only thing he can really do, because
yeah,
he's not really gonna see anything else here, right? Like once there's nothing there, there's nothing there. So at this point, Special is indeed going to do what we were talking about in the beginning of the game, and I don't hate it. Like you said, like trying to win 3 very normal passive straight up games in a row. yeah, that's almost never going to happen. So you may as well just try to give yourself some momentum, really launch yourself back into this series with a quick cheese. If it doesn't work, I don't think it really changes that much. And if it does, then it's suddenly like a little more doable to potentially still win this series.
Let's see if you have TY move out. Obviously, the good part of this build is that you kind of blindly catch TY off guard, because TY sees the racks at home, so he's like, oh, okay, no proxy then. There has been a little bit of like 3 racks reapering where you keep 1 racks at home. The 2 racks is definitely interesting, but TY is already playing fairly safe, right? Double gas and a factory before he expands. And that just instantly gives you that Hellion much faster. Probably means he's going to go a couple of Reapers and Hellions here. And that's, with good micro and not being caught out of position, that's kind of all you need.
Yep. And then you look at the building placement as well, right? That's already going to complicate things a little bit. So we'll see if TY is going to be able to put 2 and 2 together. I was also curious about his Reaper movement, but he's just keeping it very safe so far. He's not going to do anything crazy. Now, obviously, early game, you don't have a lot of units to work with. This is where it becomes very important for TY that he brings the Reaper back immediately, right? Because if he just takes 2 shots too many, he spots it well.
Yeah.
If you talk about good movement, Wadi, that's the best movement you're going to see.
Yeah, he was already moving that Reaper around. He was already controlling it. He has not much else to do, so keep the Reaper active. Make sure you're very ready to respond. Now he has a Hellion, and the reactor isn't the greatest thing initially, but actually, now he's got double Marine on the way. This is really bad for SpeCial, who commits through to a starport as well, by the way. So staying on 1 base, not expanding out of this, and also TY staying on 1 base. It's going to become a very weird one base versus 1 base here.
Yeah, at this point, obviously, TY was mining a little bit less because he pulled a whole bunch of SCVs to play it safe, but I don't mind it at all. TY is going for the medevac, and then obviously there is a lot of potential because the Marine count is going up. 2 Reapers, by the way, so he's going to be able to have like 3 Hellions and 3 Reapers against the opening of SpeCial. This looks absolutely fantastic for TY. SpeCial at this point is probably like wondering, like, well, I probably shouldn't get too crazy. He's going to use the barracks as a scout. That's kind of cool, and that's... Did he see the medevac? Sorry, I missed that. Yes, okay, he saw it in the end there. If he was looking, and I'm sure he was. But he's got to get out of there. This is not a fight his Reapers ever want to take.
On the plus side, SpeCial does have a siege tank coming up back at home, and that should do a lot to help here. But if you ever siege up that tank and it's in the wrong place, these Hellions can sneak by and get a lot of damage done.
Yeah.
The good news
you
is
worry about,
right?
You got to worry about so many things, right? You got to worry about the fight, but you also have to worry about your mineral line. So SpeCial is going to have to stay very composed. He's going to try to block the potential expand there. That's kind of cool. I like that. Let's see if the units are going to be in the right position. That tank, I kind of like where he's putting it. That's the first juicy shot already. Because obviously every shot matters in these early stages. And TY immediately is like, well, you've got a tank? All right, I'm out of here.
And I'll just expand as well, right? He knows there's no expansion up for his opponent just yet. TY getting that Raven up, and I think that's going to be big because one of the natural things that happens next is that SpeCial comes across the map and he tries to get aggressive again. He's got 2 very early tanks in the game, so I would expect him to attack, but he's actually looking as though he wants to build a command center. I'd be surprised if he didn't try and utilize the tank advantage at some stage early, though. That would be. I
think he will, but I also understand he's worried about the moment he moves out, that his main base feels like a sitting duck. You can already see, because I mean, this is obviously not a situation where you ever want to end up losing units. The medevac is going to try to get adventurous. Vikings are on the right side. Okay, this is a very awkward moment, I think, to unload your Hellions. That means the 2 Hellions go down immediately, and a single Reaper went down. The second Reaper goes down. Man, TY is good.
Yeah, some good continued micro here with these couple of Hellions, cleaning up some of the Reapers as continues to push this racks away. Look how many Reapers he has, but it is up against 3 tanks. He'll have double Raven to help him out in this fight. Auto turrets are going to be absolutely critical. And then he's got everything else on the ground to help out. 1 tank of his own, I believe, is now out, so he can use that defensively as well. See what he can get as these Reapers. Wow.
I love what TY is doing, actually. Like, he's really pushing this back and trying to buy as much time for himself as possible. His first tank is already out. The second tank is almost out, and obviously he's got these Ravens as well. Like, I don't know if SpeCial can really get a lot done here. Like, yes, he's got the vision, but at this point he's obviously nowhere near in range of these tanks. SpeCial needs to get a little more adventurous. TY on sieges without even seeing the movement there of SpeCial's tanks. He just kind of knows about the timing of it all. Insane.
The Ravens are going to flank in from the top side, or at least that's the plan, so they don't get shot down by the Vikings right away before they get their spell casts off. So that seems to be the plan there, as these tanks will move into range. TY He's going to see it with the Marine. He's going to reposition one of his tanks. He's actually moving out to intercept reinforcements.
What? Okay, I mean, this is kind of insane at this point. Obviously, these tanks can potentially get in range of the factory as well, and shutting down the factory would be massive. Are we going to see TY go for it? The answer is no. SpeCial tries to get even a little bit closer, so he's going to be in range of that factory. It does feel like there's a lot of units here for TY, and obviously the Ravens, they could potentially drop an interference matrix or auto turrets. I think both of them are going to be very impactful here.
Yeah, I mean, either or really is going to work out. He's going to lose the siege tank, though, and now his factory under fire as well. He's starting to get that Viking count up, and he's going to come in to fight this, and he'll take the advantage, so he should win the fight in the sky here now. TY takes away a lot of the vision that SpeCial's hoping to use to keep on fighting that factory and so on.
Okay,
now,
can we talk about the fact that SpeCial has 34 workers on one base?
Yeah.
I mean, I know he pulled a bunch of them, so he obviously wants to reestablish the economy, but it doesn't feel like this is a moment where he can just like safely expand at home, right? Like he's going to be way too far behind if nothing happens here. SpeCial needs to make stuff happen, but the movement of TY is so good so far. All the turrets go down, and the tanks are taking a lot of damage already. There is the interference matrix, and this does not seem like a good fight for SpeCial at all. One more tank falls on the top side. I think it's a disaster, Morty.
Yeah, and he's also now SpeCial doesn't have the air control, and he'll never really get that back. So there's one Liberator he made. Best he can do is fly toward the main base maybe and get a mineral line, but actually SpeCial's gonna, TY's gonna see it, so it shouldn't really get anything done, and that's gonna get shut down as well.
TY just scanned the natural, and he also sees there's no expand there. He sees more Marines and tanks being rallied to the other side of the map, so he knows he needs to take this very safe. Gets another favorable engagement there. 9 SCVs just got blown to pieces by this tank. Ay. TY drops another expand. He's going up to 3 command centers against 1 base SpeCial. If you're wondering at home, is TY confident here? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, he has absolutely zero fear at all right now.
The boys are being pulled, by the way. All the SCVs are coming to the other side of the map, but the landed Vikings, he's moving out. 3 base against 1, and he's just waiting to fight this army. This is not even a fair fight. There is so much DPS on the side of TY. And this is going to be a relatively one-sided series. GG gets called. TY is going to be your Terran to move on to the next round.
TY looked really, really good. His pressure obviously looked great in game number 2. Game 3, SpeCial obviously came up against a tougher build to deal with. And then it obviously became weird. 1 base on 1 base, but I think TY made the right call. He's like, oh, I see what you're doing, so I'm going to expand and get myself set up defensively to hold. And it worked out perfectly, obviously, and there's like a couple moments where I was like, ooh, you know, this could maybe change up a bit. This could get a little exciting, but TY had the perfect answer all the time. There's not a moment where his tanks got caught off guard or anything along those lines.
No, at one point I was like, maybe if the tanks of SpeCial get in range of the factory too, right? Then you're really putting some serious pressure. You're forcing him to maybe rebuild a tech lab and all that kind of stuff. But the movement of TY defensively was so good. He didn't even always have the vision because he had to be super careful with his Ravens because they couldn't obviously provide the same vision as the Vikings of SpeCial. But there was only a single moment where he lost the tanks. 1 tank because SpeCial's tanks were getting closer. Other than that, just everything was perfect. Honestly, a very impressive performance by TY.
We stand as one. Are you gonna give me orders?